If you set alarms and trips incorrectly in your system, you are not just making a design mistake, you are creating a safety risk. In many oil and gas projects, engineers accidentally duplicate safety logic in the control system, and this can completely compromise safety integrity. In this video, I will clearly explain how to correctly define instrument ranges, alarms, and trips without violating safety principles. Slide 1. BPCS versus SIS. First, you must clearly understand the difference between BPCS and SIS. The Basic Process Control System, or BPCS, is used for normal operation. It controls the process, shows readings to the operator, and generates alarms when something is going wrong. On the other hand, the Safety Instrumented System, or SIS, is designed for protection. It acts independently and automatically shuts down equipment during dangerous situations. The most important rule here is that the SIS must remain completely independent from the BPCS. This independence is required by safety standards like IEC 615-11. Instrument range selection. Now let's understand how to select the correct instrument range. The transmitter range must cover the full operating condition, including normal operation as well as abnormal situations like startup, shutdown, or process upset. At the same time, the range should not be too wide because that reduces accuracy. For example, if your compressor operates between 3 to 5 bar, selecting a range of 0 to 100 bar will reduce measurement resolution. Instead, a range like 0 to 10 bar is much better because it provides more accurate readings and better control. Slide 3. Alarm vs. trip. This is one of the most important concepts. An alarm is used to warn the operator that something is going wrong. It gives time for manual action. A trip, however, is a safety function. It automatically shuts down the system without waiting for operator intervention. You should never depend on an operator to handle emergency conditions. So remember this clearly. Alarms are for operation and trips are for protection. Slide 4, SIS duplication mistake. One of the most common and dangerous mistakes is duplicating CS logic in the control system. For example, using the same transmitter to generate alarms in DCS and also trips in both DCS and SIS. This creates confusion about which system is responsible for safety, and it also violates the principle of independence. The correct approach is either to use separate transmitters for BPCS and SIS or to use properly isolated signal paths. For critical safety systems, using separate sensors is always the best practice. Slide 5. Alarm hierarchy. A proper alarm system follows a structured hierarchy. You typically have low alarms, normal operating range, high alarms, and then high trips. The key point is that alarms must provide enough time for the operator to react before the trip condition occurs. If this time gap is too small, the system will trip frequently, and operators will lose confidence in the alarms. Slide 6. Deadband concept. Deadband is used to prevent nuisance alarms. Without deadband, if a parameter fluctuates near the alarm value, the alarm will continuously turn on and off. This creates alarm fatigue and reduces operator attention. So we introduce a small deadband, usually around 2 to 5%, to ensure stable alarm behavior. For example, if vibration alarm is set at 6 millimeters per second, it should only reset when it drops below around 5.7, not exactly at 6. Slide 7. Range selection practice. Different instruments require different range selection logic. For pressure transmitters, you should consider the maximum possible pressure, including upset conditions, and add a safety margin. For temperature, you should consider startup conditions and maximum allowable limits. For flow, you need to consider both minimum controllable flow and maximum operating flow. Choosing the correct range is critical for both safety and performance. Slide 8. Rotating equipment examples. Let's look at real examples. In a pump, low suction pressure alarm helps prevent cavitation, but it may not always require a trip. In a compressor, high discharge pressure requires both an alarm and a high trip for protection. In a lube oil system, very low pressure must trigger an automatic trip because loss of lubrication can immediately damage bearings. So the logic depends on the severity of the situation. Slide 9. Key principles. To summarize the most important rules. Alarms are used to inform the operator, while trips are used to protect equipment and people. Instrument range must be selected carefully to ensure both accuracy and coverage. The SIS must always remain independent from the control system. and proper timing and deadband settings are essential to avoid nuisance alarms. Slide 10, Interview Questions. If you are preparing for interviews, you should clearly explain these concepts. You should be able to define the difference between alarm and trip, explain why SIS duplication is wrong, describe how to select instrument ranges, and explain the importance of deadband. These are very common and important questions in oil and gas interviews. Final takeaway. Remember this one line. Alarms protect operations, but SIS protects people and equipment. If you understand this clearly, you will avoid one of the biggest mistakes in instrumentation design. If you want to become a strong engineer in oil and gas, you must understand not just how systems work, but how they fail. Like this video, subscribe for more deep engineering knowledge, and comment SIS if you want a real failure case study. See you in the next video.